I am 30 years old, and I am having a crisis. This has all started because of a magazine article. In this article, I've learned that a friend who is 4 years younger than me has just been named one of the most creative people in business. I should be happy for him, but at this point in time, I am unemployed. I have been for months, and I'm living in expensive New York City. My friend in this magazine article, in this photo, looks hip and happy, and by extension, he must be living a hip, happy, and productive life, probably somewhere endlessly sunny. I, on the other hand, do not feel in the least bit productive, and what's worse, I have no idea what I want to do with my life. Things did not always look this bleak. In fact, they started off rather well. I graduated from Stanford, I did rather well, and then I landed a great job at the Central Bank of Singapore, where I was dealing in millions of dollars of trades every day. And then deciding that I didn't want to be part of a government bureaucracy over the long term, I took a turn and became a management consultant. As a management consultant, I received a solid pay, got great training to work with smart and motivated people and challenging business problems while flying around the world business class on a client expense account. It was a good 4 years. But even then, it didn't feel like it was enough. And I wanted to learn how to get my hands dirty, implementing strategies instead of just advising people on what to do. And so I took another turn. And I was lucky enough to find a position at a billion-dollar apparel distributor in their marketing department. And I got to come up with new marketing strategies that could impact company performance, and then got to try my hand out at testing them in the field. It was an incredible learning experience. But through these turns in my journey, somehow the future started looking rather bleak. I felt burned out. I started to realize that a lot of what I was doing seemed to be about making rich people richer. And to tell you the truth, I didn't like a lot of them. Many of them, not all, seemed more concerned about themselves and their fancy cars, fancy homes, and vacations, more so than the people who were working for them or the hundreds of thousands of customers that they served. And if I thought about my future working 60, 80, 100-hour weeks to benefit such people, I just felt my soul sort of shrivel up and die. And so I took a different twist in this journey and decided to step off the path entirely. Instead of looking for another job, I took a break and decided to ponder life's great mysteries and what my true purpose was. So in a way, this crisis that I'm in today is entirely self-created. But who would have thought it would take months and I'd be no closer to figuring out the answers to the questions that I had been asking in the beginning? Whereas my friend, 4 years younger, and probably many people, other people, had clearly found their path. It felt like I hit a brick wall. So in such a situation, I'm very good at doing one thing, and that's avoid the problem altogether and surf the internet. And because on this particular day, I am feeling a little bit down about the private sector and about capitalism in general, I decided to Google best charities in New York City. And then I stumbled upon a site called Charity Navigator, started to filter through charities in the city, sort them by the top-ranked ones, and lo and behold, because things are arranged alphabetically, there is an organization called Acumen Fund. And what they do is build transformative businesses that solve the problems of poverty. Looking further into Acumen, what I learned is that they are a contradiction. They are a not-for-profit, and they're also a venture capital fund. What they do is they raise donations like any other charity, but instead of giving the money away, they invest it in businesses that are serving the poor. These could be businesses like an anti-malarial bed net company, the first producer of bed nets on the African continent. Or they're companies that produce low-cost solar lighting solutions or safe drinking water solutions for low-income communities. And others that are working with hundreds of thousands of farmers, smallholder farmers, across the world. Any financial returns that Acumen Fund makes through their investments are then reinvested into the next life-changing business. This is something that I was looking for, and I was hooked. And so I jumped straight to the job page. There's a position for Business Development Marketing Manager, and this is what I see. And my heart sinks. They're looking for a super-duper marketer or someone who is world-class with online tools. Now, I did marketing for just under 3 years, but I would hesitate to call myself super-duper. And I am definitely not world-class with online tools. The job application is due in 36 hours, and they want me to build something called a squidoo lens. I have no idea what a squidoo lens is, much less know how to build one. And so I shut my laptop and sort of hang my head in despair. And perhaps it's because on this day, I have hit rock bottom, and I'm feeling wildly desperate. I do something that is completely out of character. For me, a person who is highly introverted, and at this moment filled with complete self-doubt, I decide to run a campaign, an online campaign, titled, "Get Joanne a Job in 36 Hours." Somehow, I figure out how to build this squidoo lens, and it's been pretty much dedicated to this campaign. And I send it out to a few family and friends, and miraculously, in 24 hours, this page becomes one of the top-ranked pages on the website. This is enough to get me noticed, and after 9 grueling rounds of interviews, I actually land the job, and I have been at Acumen Fund ever since. Business Development Marketing Manager is actually a terrible title. It completely does not describe what I do, but no one's actually come up with a better one, including myself. And what I do at Acumen is essentially create things at the intersection of online and community building. In the few years that I have been at Acumen Fund, I have built websites, campaigns, and videos that have helped to triple our online revenue. I've helped to build, and I currently lead, a network of volunteer chapters around the world that are raising awareness and funds for Acumen Fund. And more recently, in a bid to share our knowledge and what we're learning in the field, we have started a pilot online leadership development course that has 3,000 participants from 103 countries around the world. These are people from places as far-flung as Azerbaijan, Madagascar, and Laos. And this is all just the first step in building a larger online social change academy, where what we want to do is equip hundreds of thousands of social innovators around the world with the tools that they can go out and create better, more effective change. The funny thing is, if you were to ask me now, what is it that I want to do with my life? I am probably farther away from an answer than I was before. But I'm actually more comfortable with the uncertainty. It is the poet Rilke who says this really well. The point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer. The funny thing was that being at Acumen Fund suddenly made all the pieces of my life for me fit together in ways that I never thought or never really expected. If it weren't for all the years I spent in private sector, in business and in finance, I would not be aware of both the pitfalls of those sectors, but also the power of those tools to actually create change. And I would not be as passionate about the work that I'm doing with Acumen. And the skills that I currently apply in my job, I've acquired through the years. The need for big picture strategic thinking, I learned in management consulting and in my policy work at the central bank. The ability to design campaigns and test them in the field, I learned in marketing. And the ability to connect and talk to many different audiences, I learned through all three jobs that really touch different people from different sectors and different jobs. And even that deep, dark period of unemployment, for me, taught me a lot about persistence and about patience. Thinking about all of that and realizing how all the pieces fit together has made me more comfortable in my own skin and in being myself. And once I became more comfortable with myself, I suddenly understood that I could not just create for my work, but I could create opportunities for myself. And so in some ways, the paths that lay out before me that I could wander along were endless, and amazingly so. Tolkien sums it up pretty well. He says, "Not all who wander are lost." So have confidence in yourself and in your journeys. Don't be afraid to take risks that might take you off the path, but help you uncover new insights about yourself. And I wish you all many happy years of wandering. Thank you.